Hi, hello. Welcome back to Java Talkies. The last video we discussed about project reactor, how the project reactor internally works. Diagrammatically, I explained step by step. If you guys not watched, please watch it. The link I will provide in the description. In today video, we are going to discuss what are the publishers. So how many types of publishers the reactor providing, how to create the publisher, how many ways we can create the publisher, how to test it. In the today video, we are going to discuss with Mono publisher. Reactor providing two types of publishers. One is Mono and the another is Flux. As you know, the Mono emits either 0 or 1. From the reactor document, we can create Mono object using many methods. From those, we are going to discuss topmost methods we will use in the daily code. Okay, let's jump into code. Guys, I'm using STS IDE. We will go with the first method, that is empty. So I'm writing a method called Mono.error, removing the comment here. So we need to test a, sorry, Mono.empty, right? Empty. So we need to create a Mono object. The Mono object is from reactor.core.publisher. Okay, so mono.empty. The mono.empty, you can see here the from the documentation, mono, it create a mono that completes without emitting any item. So it is empty, right? So it will create a empty mono object. It will emits nothing. So the return type is empty. So in order to test this, it is returning empty or not. So in order to test the Spring, the publisher, we need to subscribe it, right? So we will subscribe this publisher. Here publisher is empty, right? So mono.empty. So empty dot subscribe. So we have a method called subscribe. The subscribe to this mono. So just we will run it. So I'm adding a annotation called test. It is from Jupyter. Okay. So running this method. See the test results. It is passed in the console. So it is printed only one line. But how we can know this subscribe is called publisher? Means the subscribed the subscribe the publisher. Okay. So in order to know the Spring, the project reactor provided one method called log. So it will log the every request and response. So we'll run again. See here in the log. So it is called onSubscribe method. So the subscriber is called subscribed at publisher. So it is called onSubscribe, and it is requested a data from publisher. So usually we created a mono object using empty, right? So it will emit nothing. So finally it is called onComplete. So this is the onEmpty method we can create mono. The second one, error. So in the first one, mono error. So for example, in some cases, we need to create a empty, we need to return a empty mono object. In that case, we can use mono empty method. Okay, the same way error also. So in some cases, we need to send a mono error object, a mono error object. In that case, we can use mono error. Okay, I'm creating a method called mono error. uh, Mono.dot error. So the mono error, it's expecting an argument called throwable or any exception. So I will throw an exception. Java Talkies will provide. It will return an object called error. The other way, so in order to subscribe the publisher, we can reactor providing the method called subscribe method. The other way, we can call the publisher in order to test the our implementation. The Spring reactor providing the one more interface called step verifier. It is from reactor test, reactor.test, step verifier dot create. So we need, the create is a method. We need to pass the publisher to that method. So here publisher is the error, right? So we are passing publisher, then verify error. So actually we are throwing error, right? So verify error method. So we have one more method called verify error message. Java is, so we'll add annotation called test from Jupyter. Okay, we will run it. So the test case passed. Here there is no log, right? We will add log method. Again we will run it. See, we created mono error object, right? So the mono in the last video we explained, if while processing any data, so the publisher send the, if any we got any exception or any error, so it will send a message. See, it will call a method called on error, right? So it is called on error method. So in this case, in our case, we are throwing error, right? Mono error. So that's why it is subscribe on sub, it is called on subscribe, then request, finally is on error. So if the publisher call on error method, then any method it will call, like on complete will not call. Okay, so finally it is called on error. So this is the way we can create error, mono error. We can emit mono error. The third one, just. So mono just, right? So we'll copy the above method, mono just. So the just method, it's need a data. So it is expecting argument as a data, just any object. So here we will remove this one. Data means get name. We will create a method called get name. Create a method get name public. So I will return a string. String is Java Talkies. Okay. So right here. So we created a mono object using just. So Mono.just. So it is expecting a data, any object as argument. So we pass a string. So here we are passing a string Java talkies. Then we will verify using step verifier dot just. So step verifier dot create. We need to pass the publisher as argument. So here in our case just is a publisher and verify error. So it will not throw any exception, right? Throw any error. So that's why we can we have one more method called expect expect next. So Java talkies dot verify complete. Here we can see so what it is emitting. So Java string, right? So that is called Java talkies. So it is emitting a string called Java talkies. So we are expecting the same string Java talkies here. So we will run it. So it is emitting the same or not. So the test case success. Here we can see so on subscribe called, request called, on next. Here the previous case on next not called, right? In the emitter it will not call any on next because it is not emitting any data. In the second case on error case, so it is throwing an exception. So that's why it is not called on next. Directly it is called on error. In the third method on just, so mono just, so it is returning a data, right? So that's why it is called on next. It is emitted a string. So that's why it is called on next. Then finally it is called on complete. Okay. In the just method, we can expect we can see one more difference, one more uh, thing here. For example, if you are not subscribed any publisher which is generated from jest, so how the behavior we will see, how it will behave. So just a second, we will add a sysort here, get name called. Okay. So we will check this method is called or not. Okay. See here, get name call, right? So even we not subscribe the mono just, it is generated, it is called get name. So here what we are observing here we can see the just method takes and takes data as a argument. This data is generated before subscribe, right? So even we not subscribe the mono just publisher, it is called the get name method. So when dealing with pre-generated data, just method we should use. So when we are dealing with any pre-generated data, we can use this just method. Okay. So I'm enabling it. The one more method we can use the mono, that is called defer. So mono defer. So mono dot defer. So Mono.defer is a method. It is expecting a argument called supplier. So here supplier is nothing but any publisher. So a publisher is a supplier, right? So it will supply the data. So here we need to pass any publisher. Okay, so we need to return or we need to pass mono dot just get name method. Here we will add dot log. Now to check so how the communications happen between subscriber and publisher. So it will return mono defer will create a method object. So we will check it. So mono defer dot using step verify we can verify it. Step verify dot create. So pass a publisher. Here publisher is mono defer dot expect next. Here the what it is emitting the mono defer is a string, right? So the string is Java Talkies dot verify complete. Okay, we will test it. So in order to test, I'm adding the it test annotation from Jupyter, running it. See here, same it is same as just method. So it is called get name called and process successfully. So the test case also passed successfully. Mono differ. Then here, what is the difference between mono differ and just mono just? So when we have to use mono just, when we have to use mono differ. So in the previous, so we observed. So even we is not subscribe in the data. I mean publisher, it is it is pre-generating the data, right? For in the just coming to differ, so we will check it. Is it generating the data or not? Even we not subscribing the publisher. See, it is test case was passed successfully, but here there is no method called. So this get name internally we call get name, right? So this is not printed. Means it is not pre-generating the data. Okay, so this is the difference between just and differ. So when we want to generate any data as pre-defined, so in that case we will go with mono just, otherwise we can use differ. And one more thing, the just method expecting the argument as a object like data. The parameters data is the only item on next, like data it is expecting the object like string or anything. Coming to mono differ, it is mono differ method, it is expecting a supplier. Okay, that this is the one more difference. Okay, so it will not pre-generate data without subscribing the differ publisher. So this is the difference between mono and just. So we discuss empty, error, just, and differ. So these are the four methods we can create mono object, mono publisher. The remaining methods we'll discuss in the next video. Please subscribe and share it. Thank you.